welcome. Thank you for joining me on this Friday Night Live. Again, this is an hour with Child Rules to ask any and all questions on any of the paths that we're all on, which includes nature, spirit, and commerce. We're actually on all of the paths at the same time and all connected through all the different lights, and that is what I'm here to lay down the foundations for and to help bring elevation and enlightenment of understanding amongst all the lights. So, please feel free to ask any and all questions. That's what this hour is set aside before. Luckily tonight I didn't have bachata class, even though I typically would have had bachata class. I only got a couple more, but I'm almost done with that. So got a little more free time, flexible, and able to come on here and help everybody. So feel free again. I set aside this time to help everybody on a case-by-case basis. Spent a lot of time making a lot of different informational videos, and oddly enough, the last one I just posted, I put near not a effort. I put near not a effort on it at all, you know. And the video before that, I spent about 15 hours, $88, and you know all this stuff, and I put it up, and it immediately gets banned in 2 hours, and I'm like, this is some garbage. So this last one, I'm talking, when I say minimum effort, I put just barely any effort in this thing, posted it up, and it's already doing better than the last 7 videos I've did. Although it did immediately say again, you know, I don't know what category I'm in, but it would, no matter what I post, as soon as and I don't know if anybody else is a content creator out there and has this experience, but as soon as I post a video, immediately before it's like reviewed or gone through any algorithms, it immediately says promote this video, which basically means, to me, it's like your video ain't going nowhere. If you want it to go somewhere, pay us. Like that's what TikTok has me kind of like categorized at. And they're whoever my handler is that has a foot on my throat when I'm out here trying to help everybody in equity, you know, peace and love. Like I'm coming from the truest intentions possible, because I'm not like asking anybody for any money. You know, I've spent years and years and years dedicating my life into studies of all different sorts and all different walks and just crazy esoteric knowledge, and I'm able to share a lot of that with y'all so that y'all don't have to go through some of the traps and trials and tribulations that I myself went through. Luckily, I've been able to do studies and had great mentors. I've had great mentors and teachers and a whole lot. Alex, thank you so much for the roses. Thank you. Your gifts will be used to help others, for that which TikTok doesn't take off the top, the cream of the crop, because they like to get their little cut off of that Jimmy right there when you're throwing roses. They probably took about 10 of them roses when you're throwing them down. Anyway, just messing. I do truly appreciate any of y'all gifts. I don't require them. I don't request them, but I do appreciate them. You're sowing seeds into helping enlighten everybody else, because that's what my true passion is to help everybody the best that I can to understand all these different realities that we've been thrown into and not taught for a reason. Because it's not profitable for the people that control all the systems that we've all been thrown into, for them to release the true knowledge. And that's almost how a lot of any of the private sectors really work, is the people at the bottom, they don't have the truth, they don't know what's really going on. Only the few at the top like have the true vision and the idea of what's going on. And here we are. We're in this situation where a handful of people that control the giant mega corporations that dictate all of our healthcare, all of our food, all of our medical stuff and education and all that stuff. And it can be kind of depressing becoming awake. It's not super easy. Awareness. Thank you so much. Thanks for all the roses. Much appreciated. Again, love you guys. Your gifts will be used to help everybody. Like that's what I'm doing here. I got some great video ideas in the works. Now I am constantly like coming up with like little curveballs just to see, because I'm like over analytical and I do data tracking and stuff. So I see like where my traffic goes, where it comes from, like how TikTok reacts to what I do, and just for fun. Even though I was I missed last week, I put a video out. I'm telling you, I probably spent 10 minutes on the video. Instead of spending 18 hours like I normally do, or 13, between all the dialogue and thinking and plotting and stuff, just no editing, just boom, 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 and this thing killed it. Thanks, Alex. Thank you for the heart, much appreciated. So again, guys, I set this time aside that is for everybody to ask questions. So feel free to ask any and all questions. Alex, thank you so much for the roses. Well connected, well respected. It's done all through nationality and a state. You give great, awesome content. Yes, that is how we interface with the public, because the public is bankrupt and it's all corporations and it must interact with like kinds. But humans are the underwriters and the ones that are able to move any and all corporations. I mean, we can do stuff with robots and solar panels and stuff, or solar technology and AI and stuff like that. But ultimately, humans are the lifeblood force that moves everything out there. And what do they say? A sacrifice isn't made without blood. Well, that's what happens with us. All of our lifeblood is basically being bound by all of these corporations that want us to work for them and spend all of our time and life energy until we're basically 65 and can't even do anything left, and then we're just a liability. So you think about all these holy days too. I just walked through Walmart and I couldn't believe they already got what's the next corporate holiday coming up is Valentine's Day. They already got Valentine's Day up. Christmas done. Next one, come on in, get your sugar, get your hearts. Come on, let's. I was watching one of these videos where they have all of these huge dumpsters full of all the stuff that people don't buy, and sometimes they pay employees to destroy it. Brand new products. And they say it's just so funny watching after every commercial holiday. It's just like all these corporations that try to trick everybody into paying hand over feet to try to get all these stuff, all these things like buy this, because it's all about business. At the top of the end of the day, at the top of the pyramid, all the money rolls uphill and crap rolls downhill. That's how it be. Awareness Daily. 3 Magi investing in Jesus, gold, incense, oil, body, mind, spirit, thoughts. So the 3 Magi, and that is the 3, what they call the wise men, following the star in the sky, that offered up different things. I think it's more than, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's more than just incense, oil, and gold. What I would have to do, because I read the Bible every single day for months and months and months and months and months, but it has been years and years and years. What I would need to do is actually look at all the scriptures. This is how I learned a lot of the stuff inside of the Bible. Is I got my lexicon concordance, and I had my Bible, and I would look up the words, and how I would figure out what the true nature, spirit, and commercial interpretations are is each verb has a natural and spiritual interpretation, or each noun has a natural and spiritual interpretation. And what you can do is look throughout the Bible everywhere it's mentioned and around each word, and it will tell you after a while you can put all the pieces together and figure out what that noun actually means naturally and spiritually. So what I would have to do is look at that verse, and I would have to particularly look at the exact Hebrew translation and then look up the words, and then I can start to figure out what each of those things are. For instance, you're saying it's gold, incense, and oil. I would have to look at the actual Hebrew words of what the 3 things were, and then I can start to put all the stuff together as far as figuring out what they mean on a natural level, a spiritual level, or a commercial level. That's not to say that I can't give it to you right now, but that's what I would do later if I wanted to put those puzzle pieces together. So gonna post an article I created about the topic. Okay, yeah, absolutely. I have been glancing through Telegram. Like I said, I had to delete that. Thank you again for the roses, much appreciated. Much appreciated. I deleted it from my phone because it was murdering my space. I couldn't do nothing. Like, I couldn't even take pictures. Like, it was bad. I would be out on vacation or with my kids or be somewhere, and it's like no space, and I'm like trying to delete stuff. I had to delete messages from like years ago and stuff like that were caught up in messages. I guess I don't have it on automatic delete. So stuff in my history and archives and stuff, like I just had to get rid of it, get some space on there. Guys, we can talk about anything. I was going to get a little bit into psychology. A recap of this live will be on YouTube. The audio will be in my Telegram group. I have exclusive content on all my social medias, which are linked on my website, which is linked on my profile page of TikTok. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see all my different social medias on there. I've created playlists to help everybody on their paths to try to understand all these lights that we operate in. And I, as a man, it's when it comes to women, that are very pretty, it's hard to not use the visual, like, because women are very pretty to me, and it's so hard to not use that. And what's funny is the superficial things that we use to like engage into relationships with, like long term with men and women. The superficial things that we look for place no value or hold any significance on whether or not that person is good in a relationship. For instance, if a girl's hot, that has nothing to do with whether or not that girl is good in a relationship. If a guy has money and cars and all this, that has absolutely nothing to do whether or not that person is good in a relationship. Of course, they could provide stuff, but if they suck as like, a provider, it's just so funny that a lot of guys just go off of like, oh, I gotta have the hottest thing on my arm, as I'm walking around on this earth. And it's like, but is she a good, high valued woman? You gotta look for some of these key indicators. It's hard to get past that. And the icebreaker comes around the average female and average male at the age of 30. That's when the sexual marketplace actually switches for the first time in male and female's lives. So the first 30 years, like the woman's marketplace availability like exceeds the man's, like in all aspects. And around 30 is when the man actually starts to have higher value from a woman on the marketplace out there. That's some very unique data, and that's from multiple sources. Like that's not just one. If you post that, I'll definitely check it out. Gold, land, incense, air, oil, water, law. Wow, that could be. We've got gold in our bodies. We have air in our bodies, and I'm pretty sure we got oil. Last time I had the runs, I definitely had oil in my body. I don't know what kind of oil we got. I know you can make oil out of almost anything. Some olives, squish it. I actually needed olive oil and I forgot to get it from the grocery store today. I was so mad. I don't make lists. I just walk through and try to get everything. And I got here and I'm like, dang, I forgot milk and I forgot olive oil, because I wanted to cook something. I was like, dang, I was gonna put it in my rice. I have a little bit of avocado oil, but not enough to do what I wanted to do. So I just been eating like cold stuff, scraps. Thanks for all the likes. I'm already at 1.5 thousand likes, and it has been. I'm going to subtract a minute because this is the first time I noticed down here that it would go live for 1 minute with no traffic. So I guess that allows me to like pick my nose and cough and stuff like that for a minute before it like lets anybody come on to my live, which is all new to me. But anyway. Again, guys, very surprised that my last video, very little effort, none at all, and just posted it on there, and it's done better than my last 7. Like, and I'm talking like I like putting out high quality content. Not that, woo, I was about to say before my mic dropped, not that I couldn't buy a brand new camera and like hire. I invested I bought CapCut for the year. Then I ended up. Buying the Monopoly fees. Oh, thanks for the cowboy hat awareness. Thanks again for all the roses. You guys are killing it. Again, all your gifts would be used to help all the stuff like my website and my phone service for people. I talk to people all the time on the phone, and what's cool now is you can actually text me on my website phone number, and it goes right to my phone now instead of like through a remote thing where I have to check it like once a week or something like that. Alex, thank you so much for the roses. Feel free to ask any and all questions, guys. This time is set aside for y'all. We can go under an hour, past an hour, or whatever. This is kind of what I'm here for. Awareness Daily. The Magi gave up their sovereignty to Jesus. Banned? What does that mean, prodigal son? Why are you posting so many banned? Were you banned? Or am I banned? I know I'm shadow. Banned. Ain't no joke. Ain't no lie. And that's why I tell people, if y'all want to know when I'm going live, you either have to subscribe to me or you have to join my Telegram group. And I try to do my best to tell my Telegram group that I'm going live every time that I am, to give y'all a little bit of a heads up, but I usually don't give. Alex, thank you for the roses, man. I'm impressed with all the gifts, guys. Y'all are just amazing. Much appreciated. Awareness, thank you for the heart. Truly appreciate all that stuff. And I love your work, man. I really love the. I was almost thinking about because I've never used ChatGPT to make art before. I actually bought a very expensive thing for what was the name? I haven't used it in so long I done forgot the name of it. It was some little app that I bought one as a whole year subscription to, and I'm looking for it. I think did it start with a D or something? Discord. Yep, Discord. Journey through Discord. So I bought that. It was like $500 for a year or something like that. I mean, it's pretty cool because you can use it all day, every day, nonstop, and I kind of liked how it is. But I think the style that you're using, the problems that I'm having is you can't put words. Like you try to get it to say a word, and it's like it just doesn't want to put the word in with this Discord stuff. And it looks like ChatGPT is actually doing pretty good with that. And another downside is like it takes a lot of time for me. When I'm posting videos and doing content research and editing, I've kind of stopped spending so much time making customized pictures. I wanted to for a long time, but it just takes so much time now that I'm trying to spend more time with my kids, and I got a lot more going on with work, and I got a lot more with girlfriend and ex, and on and on and on. I try to balance. I'm doing this thing about balance where, trying to be a good force in this earth, you do have to be somewhat balanced. I take the airplane air mask mentality, where you got to kind of secure your own. You got to be in a good mindset. You got to be on all pistons running, or cylinders running, in order to be truly effective. Try Leonardo AI, Recraft AI, Playground. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Is all that stuff free? This is Dave. Because I'm telling you, Discord was super expensive, but I learned that from another Telegram group, was where I found that from. And they were posting pictures. It was so funny. It was H Clinton, like as the DEVIL. It was just it was so funny because it wouldn't allow but so much. Now I've seen some AI pictures that are risque, like and then now I'm seeing these videos. I'm seeing these videos that are so insane that it's getting. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's getting hard to tell. It is getting really hard to tell. Like I could be an AI face, I could just be an AI head that somebody created. I mean, it was funny when you go through the Gateway Project of the CIA, and it talks about the hologram. When you're putting out energy into the hologram, it's talking about the natural light is just a hologram where matter is subservient to the consciousness, right? So, synthlife.ai for fake people. You are deep into it, Dave. There are too many more in video.ai. Wow. Yeah, I started looking at that because I've seen some cool pictures. I mean, I try to, like I said, I try to balance, and I have learned, because I'm really good at a lot of different programs, that you can spend, it takes like a whole class in order to even be proficient in one program, because they're getting so complex. And even in like Microsoft Office, if you break down Word, like you need a whole class for Word. Excel, I took a whole like 10-week course on Excel. Like to just how complicated it is. You can plot data points all over the earth in a 3D map. Well, a globe Earth. It'd be cool if it was a flat one. But what's going on with these swords and hearts and doves and stuff down here, homie? But yeah, for real, that's synthlife.ai for fake people. When I re-listen to this, at least I have it. When I re-listen to the audio, I'll have all the data. I can. Thanks for the 2.4 thousand likes again, guys. Again, feel free to ask any and all questions. This time is set aside to help everybody on a case-by-case basis, and you can ask any and all questions here. You can DM me, email me, you can text me, write me. I help people all the time. Like that's part of what my energy and life force here is to do. Is try to help everybody. So somebody sent me a reading of a Kabbalah book, and it's 4 hours long. I started watching a little bit, and it's just it gets really deep. Did I see a heart puff like pop up and down? It looked like a chick sent me a heart puff. Maybe it was a girl, I don't know. And then it went away. it's like the gift almost came and then went back away. Well, if there it is. It is a heart. Use what? Why does it keep coming and going? Are you so user 930491? It keeps saying you're sending one and then you're not. Anyway. Oh, Taylor. Whoa, when I clicked on your name, it actually says a name. Taylor May. Thank you, Taylor. Much appreciated. Your gifts will be used to help everybody by continuing to, help with this walk. I run a lot of different little nonprofit things, and it's getting ready to actually start getting amped up. I don't know what's going on with the world's currency. I see, Ripple over here, XRP here. I see, Bitcoin, CIA, this, all over the place. There's a lot of different data about a lot of different things. I did see something that was kind of interesting where, and I get people sending me messages from all over. And what sucks is if I don't catch them, like these are videos that will only be live, like mine. I'll post one and only be live for an hour or two before it gets banned or removed. So if I don't catch these videos, and it's hard, they get removed. And I was watching a video where a guy was sitting there talking about how he was the richest people he had ever been in a room with, like the big billionaires, came to him and were basically wondering like what are they going to do during the inevitable economic collapse of money, because it's coming. And he was saying like these are the ones that don't have enough money to buy rocket ships in order to leave Earth type stuff, even though there's nowhere you could go. But he was saying like these are people that are wondering how they're going to pay their security guards for their like private islands and all this stuff, because money's going to be worthless or change or something. But my understanding would be, if I was running the board game, right? So let's pretend like I was up at the top of one of these people that own a third of the earth or whatever it is. What I would do is I would make it a smooth transition, because the people that are running all these games plan stuff 100 years in advance. They're not. Of course, there are things that happen, for a catastrophe to keep everybody in fear constantly, but there is, to run the game smoothly for a Switch, the Bretton Woods agreement is getting kind of outdated. It's getting kind of old, and I think they're going to switch it up with something here different pretty soon. Douglas Rushkoff, that's correct. And I actually tried to look up that video on YouTube that was posted about Douglas Rushkoff, and it was removed. So I couldn't watch the whole thing. I actually wanted to watch that. But user 903491, you are very welcome. I love what I do. That's one of the things about being. I'm almost like a woman, because it's kind of funny learning all the psychology and differences about men and women, which it's new to me, because I never tried to take the position of what a woman thinks or how she thinks or walks around this earth. Is a lot of women find what makes them happy in life, as far as a job, not caring about money as much, and this is what I do with a passion. Like, it's kind of what I love. So I hope y'all can sense that and stuff, because I do put a lot of time, effort, and money and energy into trying to help everybody enlighten their education. And I have people reach out to me all the time wanting me to give them, like, where do I go? They're like, I'm studying banker manuals, UCC code, maritime law, judge's book, this, and it's like, where do I go? And it's just kind of like, what do you want to do? Because I can tell you both ends of the spectrum. You can either be completely in the dark and ignorant, which sometimes ignorance is bliss, or you can become like all these gurus that study for 20, 30 years, and then they say, oh, I wish I didn't study for 30 years, because I could have done something else, instead of just learning all this stuff. But my path, I've studied for 13 years, and I'm able to just project that out to help y'all, to keep y'all from making a lot of the simple mistakes that I did, and try to lay foundations that you can grow upon and understand, because the people that control the systems that we engage in the public don't want us knowing all this stuff. So they're taught 101. They're taught all the forms in the beginning. They spend a couple years in these secret clubs and colleges, and they're given all the keys, all the golden handbooks, all the forms. It's all handed to them like, here you go. This is how everything works. We're down at the bottom, not really understanding all that stuff. It takes a lot of time, trial, and error to try to put all the pieces together. And that's what I've gotten somewhat of a grasp on, a 100-level view of what's going on to an extent, and in all the different realms. Naturally, spiritually, and commercially. And I'm not like a master in any of these things. I love knowledge, and I like to try to get in a position, because I get let down. Like, I let myself down. So if I let myself down, I know others are going to let me down. There's no doubt about it. So I try to lean on me the best that I can, and basically try to know whenever somebody's trying to screw me over or try to, that's kind of the position I want to be in. And it's helped me out, especially doing work on like homes and stuff like that. So. Awareness Daily. The government creates drone issues to justify air traffic control. Oh, yeah, that's the old bait and switch, where we create the problem and we come in with the solution. Yep, they've been doing that for daggone since Roman times. They've been, and probably before that, probably in the Antiquitech, they've they have been studying psychology, which is funny because I'm just starting to study women's psychology, but they've been studying people's psychology for decades to figure out how simple it is. Like, these corporations have these huge megala budgets that just spend all this time to figure out what's... I mean, I think on one of my other lives, I even mentioned that every single pixel on freaking Amazon has been designed to maximize profit. I mean, every pixel is color, design, shape, and everything. And they've put all of them through different pilot programs in different places and gotten data just to figure out what is the most best layout that we can extrapolate money from people. And that's what goes on. But yeah, they've studied psychology on how to control people with fear. Is one of the easiest ones. And what happens with fear is fear kills more opportunity than failure ever will. And I'll say that again. Fear kills more opportunities than failure ever will. And what that means is basically, since we're constantly being fed misinformation, constantly being taught that we're worthless accidents that are in a box, and constantly fed petroleum-based pills and over-processed foods and bombarded with Wi-Fi and all this stuff, and we're put into a heightened. The media continues to blast fear-mongering, you're worthless, subliminal crap at us all day long, and we're all just little animals trying to survive and scratch and basically get it on and eat and that this, that, and the other. Well, they basically figured out how easy it is to promote fear in order to come in with a solution. And the video that I was just watching, the Tomorrow World, where it's basically like this alien race is coming in, and for the first time in history, all the governments of the world come together magically to try to face this new enemy that's out there, and it's just kind of like subliminal message putting out programming, right? And I purchased a movie to watch with my daughter a couple days ago, and it was very beautiful. It's called Wild Robot. It is kind of a kid's movie, but it was explaining the pain and the beauty of raising a kid, and it was just such a beautiful movie. It's well worth the watch. I really enjoyed it because, like I say, I am trying to do this balance. And even though I have reached millions of people, I actually posted a video on my Telegram group that said that my mind can't comprehend millions of people, and that is true. It's like I can quantify people on my Telegram group and my TikTok, DMs and stuff like that. But in my mind, fathoming reaching millions of people, it's like it's hard to believe. Like, it's just hard to even fathom or imagine. And then, but I'm a quality person, not so much quantity. But when you look at the other side of the coin, the more people that your message can go out to, the more that you can help and reach and stuff like that. And I like trying to reach more people just so I can fish and try to find the few that are willing to. It's hard to give information to people that want it, let alone people that don't want it. So, that's kind of what we're facing out there. And again, at the end of the day, everybody just wants to laugh and be simple, and women, they say women are the majority on these social medias that do the death scrolling, where they're just, zooming through, just looking at videos. And that's part of the psychology back again is I watched this one video where it was like, women don't want to think. They just want to feel. Women are emotion-based. Awareness, thank you for the dolphin. Much appreciated. Women are substance emotion-based, and men are like logical form-based, where they operate more in the natural light, and women operate more, honestly, in the spiritual, because emotion is more of a spiritual thing. It's not so much materialistic. I'm not saying that there aren't materialistic women, but when it comes to emotion, it's about feeling, not so much, logical. All right, so again, a recap of this live will be on YouTube. The audio will be in my Telegram group. Feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me, email me. You can text me, call me, all that stuff. Asking any all questions here. That's what this hour is set aside for. I have social medias linked on my website, which is linked on my profile page. It's called Anointed New Foundation of Peace.life. and you can browse around there. It has all the content that I studied for 13 years to put all the pieces together, and that's what I like to do with almost anything. I like to put together a lot of pieces, but I use a lot of different sources because nobody has the exact same views on anything that I do. So I like to gather a bunch of sources from a bunch of different experts, and then I come up with my own opinions because I'm not a super fan of trying to make statements or take a position on something unless I've done a lot of studies for it. And I have people that, it's so funny. It's like there'll be like this misinformation video or something that isn't accurate, and it'll be going out to billions of people, like billions. And it's like, it's almost like TikTok knows it ain't true or knows it's fear mongering. But anyway, I am at the bottom. It is a beautiful Friday. It's starting to get cold where I'm at. Not sure where y'all are at, but it is starting to get cold outside. So everybody's kind of stuck inside. I hope everybody's had a great weekend. I got a funny story. So I was what happened this week? I had a tenant that was scheduled to move in, and I had everything set up. I had the house all clean, nice, fresh, painted, repaired. The dude that moved out put more scuffs on the walls than raising my two 4 and 5 year olds in my house. Like this grown man put more scuffs on the wall. I had to fix all that, get all the stuff done. There was a spot on the carpet that was missing. I thought he did it. Well, I found out later. I got the key set up for the tenants to move in. Congratulations. I had nobody been in the house for 3 days. The tenants move in, call me up, and were like, I thought you repaired the carpet. I'm like, I did. They're like, there's 3 spots missing on the carpet now. There's rat poop everywhere. There was a rat that got in the house, tore up the carpet everywhere, pooped all over the place. Like, this is supposed to be their new place. This is their first day in this new house that I manage. And their first day, when they open the door, there's just rat poop everywhere and carpet torn all over the place. And I'm like, dang, like I gotta handle this. So I ended up, having to get the rat inspector and all this stuff, get it all fixed up. And we walked all around the house, and he showed me all the places that a rat could get in. I was like, dang. But I'm actually the one that found out where the sucker was coming in and out. I caught him. As a vegan, I wish there would have been a live trap or something, but I was trying to move quick, and I put a live bait out, and I got the sucker. He was huge. He was a big boy. I'm not a big fan of killing anything. I really don't want to, but this was just one of those things where it's like, you're tearing up the whole house and you don't belong in here. And but he was coming through the sink. I fixed it. Also learned that you can use wire mesh or steel wool and expanding foam, and like rats don't like chewing through that stuff. Like, they can chew through steel or they can chew through foam, but you mix them together and they just don't like doing that stuff. All right, awareness daily. Is the public legal person fiat? So fiat. If you have the definition of it before you, because I have a few different definitions in my mind. But I would have to read that because, like they call Federal Reserve notes fiat money. It's all about perspective. And it's based all about cycles because money goes through debase. It goes through asset-backed, debased fiat. Well, this ain't working. There we go. Go here. A formal authorization or proposition decree. It ain't that. An arbitrary order. It ain't that. Am I spelling it right? Is it spelled like the car? Yeah, I'm spelling it right. Fiat is an official decree or order issued by an authority. How could a public legal person be fiat? I mean, it could be arbitrary or authoritative. This doesn't even sound like money's fiat, a command or act of will that creates something without or as without further effort. I'm not liking these. I'm gonna have to look up a legal dictionary, a legal definition of fiat, because it's just not. It doesn't even sound like. It just doesn't even sound like freaking money should be called fiat after reading that. In English practice, a short order or warrant of a judge or magistrate directing some act to be done. An authority issuing from some competent source of doing some legal act. one of the proceedings in English, bankrupt practice. Okay, so here we go. So bankrupt practice. So in the public, a U.S. citizen is fiat, because it's bankrupt. Address the court of bankruptcy, authorizing the petition creditor, prosecute his complaint, for commands. In Latin, it means let it be done. Wow. What's funny is I know I've seen throughout my 13 years, I've read fiat, but this doesn't sit right with me. I'm wondering if there's another one. That's why I said I had a couple of them, but none of these are what I remember coming from a judge or magistrate. So, in the act of address to a court of bankruptcy, authorize the petitioner credit, prosecute his complaint before it. So I just don't get why that would be what they're calling currency fiat for. Currency. Fiat money. All right, so here we go. Fiat money is government-issued currency that's not backed by a physical commodity such as gold or silver. So I guess it depends on what you put after the word fiat, because if you look up fiat, you'd never like coincided or adhere it to money. It's like a public issue or decree. So, but if you say fiat money and look it up, it has legal definitions. But I don't know about fiat person. That would be like straw man to an extent. Let's see, fiat person. Oh, it's just gonna show people driving. I'd have to do a little digging on that, my man, because so fiat currency itself has a definition, but as far as just it is bankrupt in the public. But it also, when you use the Social Security number to go through a Chapter 7, 11, or whatever the other one is, it's kind of somewhat fraudulent, because the U.S. citizen does have assets on, if you have a Social Security number. If it has a Social Security number, there's public or private assets that are held on the private side. Us humans are what move any corporation. It doesn't matter if it's a person, quote unquote, which is a trust, or some type of legal entity, ens legis. A person is what moves any corporation. And I remember when I was doing business studies with my last business I worked for, and I was helping them do expansion projects and stuff like that. I basically was breaking it down, like they were talking about all their assets, and I'm like, no, your biggest assets are people. That will always be your biggest assets no matter what, because without people you can't move forklifts, you can't move paper, you can't move anything. Like you people are your biggest assets. And that's true, because a corporation can't do anything without a person, a human. Well, I say person. I try not to change my tongue because there's some definition of it in Black's Law, because even though it's funny talking and dating women from other different ethnicities and backgrounds and stuff like that have different cultures. Trying to learn Spanish, for instance, it's a whole nother language. Well, so is legalese. So is learning all this commercial stuff. Like, it's a whole nother language. And it's funny. It's like I'm actually kind of bilingual. Even though I didn't know it fiat, that definition, that's weird. I knew about the money definition, but I didn't know fiat itself was a legal decree. So, but anyway, it is a whole different language, and what's wild is when you actually draft your own documents and basically start becoming the creator and the grantor and start doing your own things, you can set up the definitions of any word that you want, or it can be up for construement. For instance, and people had this knowledge back in the day, if you look at the Constitution, you will see words have capital letters. When a word is capitalized, it means there's some underwriting duty, obligation, or meaning behind it. Okay, if it is lowercase, it is sovereign. And I actually used to sign back then. I used to sign in all lowercase. I would sign my name Charles in all lowercase, because if it has an uppercase capital, that means there's some strings attached to it. It's not like free. So I would sign all the states in all lowercase. I would sign my name in all lowercase. But that was back in the day. Now I sign in all capital, baby, because I don't want no liability. Let Caesar have what Caesar created. All right, so where are we at? Tree climbing redneck. Okay, bro, I got apprehended due to the 10th Amendment. You got apprehended due to the 10th Amendment? How'd you do that? How is that even possible? What in the world? 10th Amendment. Did you break the 10th Amendment? Or did someone else break the 10th Amendment? Explicitly, the powers of the federal government are limited to those powers granted in the Constitution has been declared to be a truism. Boom, boom. The powers not delegated in the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited to the states are reserved to the states respectively. So how'd you get apprehended on that? That's weird. All right. Awareness Daily. The legal name is fiat, created by authority as a representation, not inherent identity. It's created. I know you spend a lot of time trying to break down this straw man, and it is a vessel that has assets on the public and private, and you can tap into it on the public and you can tap into it on the private. It's up to you. So can others. So can all other people that are authorized to do that in banking and stuff like that. It is also, it can't hold titles in the public because the public is bankrupt. Okay, it is fiat. So it's a fractal of the bankrupt U.S., which is a bankrupt entity. So the U.S. citizen is bankrupt in the public, and that's why it can't hold any assets. And in the private, it can't be recognized in the public, unless you do some certain things. Like if you go through an authorized agent, whenever you're converting from public to private, because you can't commingle, you have to go through an agent. So whenever you're trying to do stuff, for instance, like the moving of the U.S. citizen, we're basically the agent for the U.S. citizen. We're the authorized agent. We are the ones that have been authorized by the creators of it to do certain things. So it's just, it's a tool that you can use. It's not a it's not really the identity. The identity is linked to, because, for instance, your name, whatever, I know you by Awareness Daily, and I know we've talked on the phone and you've told me your name before, but it's just been a while. But, for instance, your name and last name, there's probably 5 other people out on the earth that have those same 2 combinations of names. And it is actually the Social Security number, the tax identification number that links to the U.S. citizen that actually differentiates it and is the underwriting value between public and private that turns that. You should focus more on the Social Security number, not so much the actual letters. Because no matter how you style the letters on a name, they're just letters that can't be copywritten. They could be trademarked, right? But it can't be copywritten. They're just different symbols. They're just symbols. The U.S. citizen is symbols, and a birth certificate that has a bunch of symbols on it, stuff like that. But the Social Security number is what actually differentiates the entity from other entities that could have that same exact name. It's just the name of a corporation. For instance, Coca-Cola could change its name to Snow Bear, okay, and it could be Snow Bear drink now all of a sudden, but it would still have the same tax identification number unless they merged or changed something, right? They could be doing business as or something like that, but it's just a corporation entity to do business with out there on the seas of commerce. The name itself, it's a trust. It is a trust, though. It is an individual trust, and it's tricked. It's deceitfully created as an individual trust, which is an oxymoron, because an individual doesn't seem like a trust. It seems like there's only one party involved, which means it's not a trust, but it is a trust. So there's your smoke and mirrors right there on the name itself. But there is a lot involved with the corporation, right? It does have assets. It does have different things. If you listen to the DTC videos on my class folder, you'll probably learn a lot more. I was laying some of the foundations of that on my videos, but I don't like giving out too much assets out in the public here. 1, because I'm throttled down. 2, because there's a reason why I'm putting out breadcrumbs in particular orders and places like that too, so that people can try to put them together if they can. And I have people that will go through all my videos and then they'll come back around and they don't understand rudimentary stuff. I might need to remake all of my the foundation videos again, because I've gotten a lot better and more proficient at making videos. All right. So, Awareness Daily, the legal name has a default nationality. So the legal name, and I'm actually going to make a video on this. I'm going to make a video on the board game. I don't know if you saw my video where I had the District of Columbia that was spread out over the whole U.S. as a monopoly board. I'm gonna make a video about the Republic states. So each U.S. citizen has dual nationality, and you can. I have information of this on my website. The 14th Amendment says you is a citizen of the United States and a citizen of the state that they reside in. That's a corporate state, not the sovereign national state. Now, the sovereign national, you still have to be a person, or not sovereign national, but the sovereign states where you can be a state national. That's still a person, okay? You have to have a person to interact in the public with. It's still a dead, bankrupt entity, okay? But in order, you can convert that state citizen part of the U.S. citizen. You can do all kinds of things. You can denounce the U.S. citizen, then you're just a corporate state citizen, which is basically still pledged bankrupt. It's owned by D.C. and all the assets are pledged to D.C. or you can owe allegiance to a sovereign republic state, and then you are a state, lowercase s, state citizen, and that is a state national. I mean, that's one of the things you can do. Awareness Daily, how can the number be held in private? Assets are held in private. It's basically like the number would be on the top of the T-chart's name, and then you have the T-chart that would have the public and private side on it that balance out the equities on like a scale like that. The number itself wouldn't be private unless you went through the DTC. Then you could get a number that would be classified as the state basically has allowed you to access the private side of it, and that's what your DTC participant number is, and you can use that. I think that's what links to the black card also. 486789 210 bait. What does that mean? What does 210 bait mean? Complete cash outs. You sent a negotiable instrument to the Department of Treasury. Am I going to jail? No, not necessarily. You probably first have a federal investigation launched against you. Depending on what kind of negotiable instrument it is. Are you trying to monetize something? I mean, our signatures are really the only thing that have true value on anything. A signature is what needed. A signature by the authorized representative, unless it's like it's a digital thing, which is the new Banking Digital Act. They allow digital signatures and all kinds of stuff. Jay Chris, what's up? Thanks you, much appreciated. I've been on here for about 50 minutes. I'm gonna be wrapping up soon, so feel free to ask any and all questions. Okay, so you sent a utility bill. You'll probably be all right. Did you send it to? Because I think the alien property custodian, we went through this, is the Attorney General now, which is I think that's kind of weird. So before 1933, the alien property custodian was set for enemies, and then when all U.S. citizens got classified as enemies, they kind of merged it into the U.S. Department of Treasury, who handles enemies' assets. Okay, and I said that's the public way. Thanks again for all the gifts, guys, much appreciated. Utility bills. Chris, have you gone through the DCC? No, I have not. I was going to, and there's several reasons, and I say this all the time. One of the reasons I stopped is because I didn't know what 1/10 of my estate was worth, which is the assets on the private side that I'm talking about. And when you do this is just like a passport. If you have something wrong, if it doesn't go through the first time, you're done. Okay, so you better have everything right before you do it. So. One of the reasons I didn't, because I didn't know what 1/10 of my estate was worth. So when I'm trying to monetize the bonds on my Social Security, I didn't want to be off by 1,000%. I didn't want to say it's $10 million or $20 million or $30 million. I have no clue. I have no clue what 1/10 of the private side of my assets on my estate are worth. Okay, so I didn't know that. Number two, I wanted to. My whole goal originally. Now this was 7 years ago. My whole goal was to reduce public debt, because all the stuff that we classify as money, quote unquote, is public debt, which hurts the public. And that's the opposite of what I wanted to do. I wanted to extinguish debt. So when I found out that at the end of the day, once you jump through all the hoops, loops, and everything right, you have to convert the private assets back into public money in order to use it. And I'm just like, here we go again. It's more public debt that's being circulated out there in the public. Well, at the end of the day, it kind of makes sense, because that's all the public can interact and interface with. And it's either you have to do it or an agent has to do it. But somebody has to have an entity. If you're gonna engage in the public, you have to have an agent. You have to have a corporation. You have to have an authorized representative. You have to have something to interface with that. But so that makes sense. And then the other reason is I didn't know who a participant was. Back then, I didn't spend any time or effort because I study all kinds of things, and money's not my master. So I felt like when I had to get invited into the DTC, it was like some private witch club where I have to be like invited in. It just felt it just didn't feel right. So going again, like off emotion base, it didn't feel right trying to go through it. So I just let Caesar have what Caesar created. Like, I don't care. And then I also, amongst that time, I learned that you're not taxed on who you are. You're just taxed on how you do business. Okay, so you can work not for profit, and you can engage in Federal Reserve notes, even though it is someone else's property. It's set up to where if you're not engaged in for profit, you don't have to pay taxes. You don't have to worry about them. They're trying to prevent an insidious system. I'm not the U.S. citizen. It's just a tool that I can use if I want to use it to engage on the board. And if it engages in for profit in a federal zone, there's a tax liability. And I come out here and I go on TikTok and I see hot chicks saying, oh, all you have to do is tell the IRS you're human and you never have to pay taxes again. Oh, and it goes out to millions of people. And I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. It's like, you've got to be kidding me. Like if it's simple, it's usually not right, right? It's just how it's set up. And us being electrical bags of water that want to take the path of least resistance, all these corporations know this stuff. They want to set everybody up all nice and comfy and let everybody be nice and easy. Well, guess what? We're learning all our knowledge on health, all our knowledge on the earth, all our knowledge on how plants work and all this stuff. Give me a Candy Crush ad. This is the weirdest Candy Crush ad I've ever seen. It's just got a chick putting on makeup. What in the world? Okay, anyway. Gotta love commercials. All about that money, making more money. Almost at 4,000 likes, guys. Appreciate you. Much appreciated. Again, feel free to ask any and all questions. I am at the bottom. Yeah, that's. I don't think that's where the alien property custodian is. I suggest complete cash outs. Watching some of my playlists on my profile page. It should help you out a lot. Understanding about trust law. And when you start to try to send indentures to a trustee to set off and settle or close an account. I have a few videos on those different things, but I definitely suggest reading some books on trust and also understanding where the U.S. citizens' assets are held. If you're going to try to engage in using the treasury. Now, I'm not saying these are the only ways. You know, there are many ways to skin a cat. What is TikTok sent a heart or something? What is this thing sent to? Is it just telling me all y'all's gifts are going straight to TikTok? I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, it takes a lot of studies depending on what you're trying to accomplish or do. And again, I'm not saying that my ways are the only ways. I'm just saying that these are things that, you know, I lay these foundations like, you know, a trust can't fail for lack of trustee. So when you create a trust, if you're using some type of property, like, you can win in court. Like, it just is what it is. You know, as long as you understand what's admissible and all that stuff. Thanks for the following. Plus 2 new follows. Thanks guys for all the hearts, shares, all the jewelry, all the bling bling. You hooking me up. Complete cash out. So the U.S. Treasury can be used to discharge debt. Debt. Any proof of debt is an asset in the public. The public trades around debt as if it's money, but they're really backed by credits that are monetized through the DTC. Okay, so I suggest like understanding banking if you're gonna. I typically don't suggest that anybody just listening to a talking head on TikTok and then signing something and sending it to the Department of Treasury. Okay, I suggest trying to understand the dynamics of what money comes from, how it's created, what you're authorized to do, how to create trust, who's in charge of the U.S. citizens' assets, why were the U.S. citizens' assets merged into the alien property custodian, when did that happen, this, that, and the other. That way you can lay foundations and stuff if you're ever challenged, because you can send them something on a napkin and get it through. Or you can pay money on a lawyer and do all this stuff, but if you don't understand what's happening, then it's irrelevant. It's just kind of irrelevant. Any process that you're doing, if you don't have the knowledge or foundation for which a lot of these processes that are being taught to a lot of these people actually sound really good because they have half truths to them. Okay, like accepted for value, like return for value, like that stuff sounds great. It has some truth to it because they're, at the end of the day, in the legal system, it doesn't matter what the truth is. It matters about what you can prove. Well, Same thing when you're trying to discharge a debt. You don't know what a debt is. You don't know what it means if it's inside of a box. You don't know what admiralty is. You don't know about private administrative procedures. You don't know about trust law. You don't know about indentures. You don't know what's enforceable, what's admissible as evidence, what's exception to the hearsay rule. You don't know what happen if you go in front of a court. If there's a federal investigation launched on you, how are you going to handle yourself? Like, these are the kind of things that you're going to be facing if you're going to try to step out of the box and like open your eyes and become aware to the stuff that's out there and start jumping into it without getting foundations laid. Like, this is what's facing you. Okay, so it's not as simple as just writing on what do they say, a remittance. Here's your remittance coupon, send it to the treasury, bundle them all up. Like, yeah, all this stuff will work temporarily until the IRS tries to balance the books of the utility companies and they say that they didn't actually get paid. It could work temporarily, and then they're gonna come knocking on the door. That's what's gonna end up happening one day. I hear it over time and time again. Even the girl that posted that video, and she was helping people. She was having people pay her she could teach them tax advice, and she was telling people, you just have to tell the IRS that you are human and you don't have to pay taxes anymore. Send me money and I'll show you how. Like, all this stuff going out to millions of people and stuff. And I had people tagging her in the video saying, yeah, that stuff works temporarily, and then they basically back charge you for all the years that you didn't pay taxes because the stuff's frivolous. Like, it's just garbage. But that's just stuff you got to face if you are going to go down the road. It's best to take little baby steps, try to crawl before you try to run and jump. I know it sounds so great to pay somebody $700 so they can show you how you just send the treasury a bill and you don't have to pay for it anymore, but it's not how it works. That's not how it works. No, at least not from my studies. Again, you can create a trust, and it is enforceable, and a trust cannot fail for lack of trustee. If you appoint one, and you have to have 5 indicia for a trust. You have to identify all for an express trust. You have to identify all the parties involved. You have to have a property and a purpose, and that's it. And that is enforceable in all kinds of courts. Okay. And the courts sometimes do not like accepting trusts. For instance, if you try to say, the U.S. citizens of trust, they're going to be like, blah, 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 and try to act like, that ain't how it really works. No, that's not really, It's because they're colorably trying to tell you to shut up because the public is bankrupt and you can't talk about that kind of stuff in the public. It just is what it is. You're disrupting the system, man. But when you get behind closed doors, you move everything to the private. You have all your ducks in a row, and you understand what's going on. You and the judge can settle the equities. Y'all can balance the books real simply. It's that simple. Boom. You have a DTC participant number. Give them that. Zap it. If you have that DTC participant number, you have proof in your hand that you are operating on private asset level. Now, this isn't when you're buying stuff. This is like something for an IRS tax debt or for a court case or something like that. You can put that DTC participant number on there if you've gone through the DTC and cashed in one of your bonds, and use that to zap a IRS debt or a ticket or something like that, as long as there's not an injured party. And that's what I always promote. When there's an injured party, you got to get everybody whole. But guys, again, a recap of this live will be on YouTube. The audio will be in my Telegram group. I have exclusive content on all my social medias, which are linked on my profile page of TikTok, on my website, anointednewfoundationofpeace.life. Feel free to browse all 13 years of stuff I've studied and compiled on my website. It's all free. I've created playlists to help everybody. You can DM me, email me, reach out to me whenever you want. At the bottom of the list, if there's any more questions, feel free to ask. If not, I'm going to wrap this sucker up. I love all you guys. Thank you for all the shares, the gifts, the likes, the hearts. We are at almost 6,000 likes. Much appreciated on this Friday. I hope you guys have had a great weekend. I hope you have a great week coming up. I'll try to come on here again once a week on Fridays to try to help you out. So other than that, catch you guys later. Love you guys. So much fun. I'm feeling good. Beautiful night. I'll catch you later.